Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Professor Cherry Ann G. Durante, and I am a registered nurse and currently the Research Director of Emilio Aguinaldo College, Manila. I came here today representing the Philippines as well to share to you my research on stress eating and obesity. For the last 49 years, Emilio Aguinaldo College serves the Filipino people by educating the next generation in service, virtue, and excellence. I would like to share to you the results of my research entitled Stress Eating and Obesity Amidst the COVID-19 Pandemic Among Filipino Adults. With a raise of hands, how many of you were stressed during the pandemic? And as a follow-up question, may I ask how many of you turned to food to relieve this stress? Stress is a challenge to the natural homeostasis of an organism. In turn, the organism may react to stress by producing a physiological response to regain equilibrium lost by the impact of the stressor. One such homeostasis that is disrupted is that of feeding behavior. And I do believe that my interest with this study is actually personal. If you could see me right now, I have actually gained a couple of pounds during the pandemic lockdown. And in my mind, there was this question, is it only me? Or was this experienced by many of the other people who were restricted in going outside or doing exercise or any physical activity? And also, was this phenomenon experienced by people that they go to food to relieve their stress? The technical definition of stress or emotional eating is eating to escape, numb, change, or amplify our feelings. And because of this curiosity, it led me to this study. Here in the Philippines, there exists a double burden of malnutrition, wherein we can see that there are people who are underweight and have chronic energy deficiency, although these prevalence have decreased over the years, but there is a rise in the prevalence of overweight and obesity from 1980s to 2018. And in the last National Nutrition Survey conducted in the Philippines, there was about 37.2% of overweight and obese adults. So there is this gap, this discrepancy of this double burden. Like for some people, they don't have enough food to eat, and yet for some, they have a lot. The most recent Philippine National Nutrition Survey, which is the expanded result in 2019, revealed that 3 out of 10 Filipinos are overweight and obese. Therefore, this study was conducted through the utilization of a cross-sectional quantitative research design, where the data was gathered through an online adaptation of the Eating and Appraisal Due to Emotions and Stress, or EADES questionnaire. This questionnaire was adopted in Filipino, in Tagalog. It was translated, and about 257 adults were recruited, ages 21 to 62 years old from Bigyan, Laguna, to participate in the study. Data collection was during the lockdown restriction implementation in the country from September to December 2020. As for the results, 63.8% among our participants experienced weight gain during the pandemic, with 20% of those people gaining 5 to 10 kilograms and 8% gaining more than 10 kilograms during the September to December pandemic lockdown. Aside from that, The obesity prevalence was 30% among the participants, which is actually similar to what was gathered in the national survey. However, there was an underweight prevalence of 17.51% among the participants, which is larger than the results of the National Nutrition Survey. It was surprising that the prevalence of stress eating was very high among the participants, about 86.77%. To break it down, low stress eating levels for 41.25%, moderate stress eating levels for 41.25%, and high stress eating levels for 4.28 levels or percentage. Stress eating also has a positive, moderately strong correlation with external stressors, with R of 0.35 and p-value of less than 0.001, making this a statistically significant result. Another, stress eating was also found to have a positive, moderately strong correlation with coping resources, with an R of 0.42 and a p-value of less than 0.001, making the results statistically significant. For our conclusion, many of the participants, 86.77%, use a stress eating as a coping resource during the COVID-19 pandemic. So I found out that it was not only I who used eating as a way to cope with the stress that came with the pandemic and the lockdown that was imposed, which affected the increase in BMI and the prevalence of obesity within the participants' population. There was a significant relationship between stress eating and external stressors and even coping skills. We have found out that the higher the external stressors are, based on the report, the higher the stress eating level of the person. For our recommendations, we recommend to educate the public about stress eating and obesity, because it is possible that people are experiencing stress eating and yet they are not aware of this. And it has to be through information dissemination and even people who are really interested to know if they have or if they do stress eating or emotional eating, and for them to get psychological help if this is psychological, or maybe a consult with a doctor is necessary. Next, another recommendation is for further research on the impact of stress eating to stress reduction. So does stress eating really work? So this is something that we want to know. And this is a recommendation for further studies. As for the impact of our study, upon completion of the study, we proposed this to our local government unit. And because of that, an exercise program was birthed, and it's entitled Balik Alindog Zumba Program. So it is actually in Filipino, but Balik Alindog means to get back your previous shape or to get in shape. And through Zumba, but we changed the Zoom of the Zumba to the Zoom platform because we want to do this during the pandemic, and there were restrictions for mass gathering. That's the reason why we, the local government unit had an instructor who would dance in front of a computer, a laptop, and the rest of the participants of the program, or the rest of the stakeholders, will be joining in Zoom and copying the moves of the Zumba instructor. So I believe that it was it yielded. So another study can be done as to the effectivity or the effectiveness of the program to getting back to the original weight of the patients or the participants who joined this program. This is my bibliography. I don't have um, any conflict of interest to declare. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who listened to this presentation. I know that I'm the last presenter and it's been a long day, but thank you so much for joining and listening. Have a great day.